Everybody, welcome back. I'm Yumble, and today we get to discuss how simple a highway interchange can be. Let's use our imaginations for a moment. Think about what the simplest interchange might look like. Keep in mind that the crossing roads of an interchange must be grade separated by definition. So you either have to have a bridge of one road going over the other or a tunnel of the other road going underneath, but they must be kept separate and then connected by ramps. Until recently, I would have assumed that the answer to this simplest interchange question would be the popular diamond interchange. This is not the case. The answer is actually quite a bit more simple than the diamond. The real-life benefits of a simple interchange are, in my opinion, immediately obvious. When it costs less to build, takes less time to build, takes up less space, is perhaps less disruptive to the surrounding community, maybe also simpler to use for people who now have to traverse this road. I think in real life there's a lot of benefits to minimizing your road infrastructure as much as possible. Another thing to consider when going simple is expandability. One day, if traffic exceeds the abilities of your simple interchange, can you expand it into something a little bit bigger but with a much higher throughput? The answer in this case is yes. This is a very expandable design, which I'm very excited about. Without further ado, let's build something simple. Here's the scenario where I think this solution really shines. Imagine you've got a place in your city where two roadways have grown unexpectedly, and they've become a bit more major than they used to be, and the city realizes that through traffic is overwhelming it. Through traffic, or maybe left-turning traffic, is overwhelming this whole thing and decreasing efficiency on all sides. So the city decides, well, let's make one of these into an overpass. It's in the budget. So they say, okay, let's make an overpass. But we still want traffic to be allowed to turn on this thing. We still want it to be able to turn from road to road. That is where the quadrant intersection or quadrant interchange steps in. So they've got their overpass now. Going to go down 12 units on either side. Beautiful. The overpass is complete, and traffic is avoiding one another, but we need it to be able to turn. So let's take this. I'm just going to do a few units off of this, so 7 units off on two sides in one of the quadrants. And then we can connect those. Boom. And there it is. The build is insanely simple. The bones of it and the lines, the concept, very, very simple. But what this does, this quadrant interchange, it allows traffic that wants to turn from road to road to do so using this connector. So the right turns going south can either go left or right onto the other road. The left turns going north can pick left or right on either road. And the same for this side. The traffic traveling east can make a right turn onto this, and then they get to turn either way. And the left turning traffic going west gets to go either left or right on here. You can really use less lanes than this in most situations, but I'm beefing it up. We are on interchange test map, and I know that this is going to get hit with a ton of traffic. The other fact is, I mentioned expandability earlier. If you take this same setup here, this quadrant, and set up a quadrant in the opposing corner, you've made a partial cloverleaf at that point. This is technically a one leaf, a single quadrant partial cloverleaf. If you set up one in an opposing corner, you've either made an A parclo or a B parclo, depending on which road you deem is the main road. But for now, let's just keep it least amount of force necessary and smallest roads necessary. If this were a lesser map, if this were a lesser context, I would use less lanes on here. But we are going to have to kind of change the lanes on this road to make it work. Let's upgrade some of these and see what that looks like. For the purpose of lane math, I've got some interesting networks. Here's a 6-lane asymmetrical road. I think it's a duplicate of what was in the Network Extensions 2-pack. So this direction has left turns, so I've added extra turn lanes there. And the same thing applies over here. Let's just do that for now. I may even opt to ground these. Yeah, that is going to look a lot better, in my opinion. Cool, we'll ground those. We'll fix the slopes later. But that gives us some favorable left turns. On the opposing side, for lane math reasons, I'm going to swap this for a 3+2. These ones marked 4+1. Bad Peanut made this network a long time ago, but it's a very good 3+2 asymmetrical road with median. And I do love the median roads here. They add a bit of something. They add a bit of a buffer. Maybe it's the illusion of safety, but it also makes the markings look much, much cooler, in my opinion. Now, if you get any weird spots, like you can see how these roads have connected kind of strangely, I'm going to use node controller renewal, click the node and hit delete the trash can, and that'll fix that thing. And now I've turned off the markings using node controller. Same thing over here. Let's see. Delete, turn off the markings. Kinda. I'm gonna hit delete and turn off the markings, and I think this one turned out okay, though I do want to turn off the markings. Great. So now, once again, lane math-wise, let's do our turn arrows. And I do strongly recommend using turn arrows. Take a day sometime, and if you don't have any reason to force them into a specific lane, don't use the lane connectors. I see an overuse of this all the time. Please, lane arrows. It's very simple. If your lane math is good, they automatically go to the correct lanes anyway, so no worries. In this case, our left turning traffic, so this is the left turn side going towards that quadrant. 2 lefts, 2 straights. Coming out of here, I'm going to do 2 lefts and a right. And for our 3+2 right turning traffic, we want 2 straights and a right. Same thing on this other side. This and this are the same thing functionally. So 2 straights and a right on that side. 2 lefts, 1 right. 2 lefts, 2 straights. This is the configuration for this map. So a lot of left turning traffic from this road, because that's how you transition from road to road. I recommend using as small of roads as possible. If you don't need to use a 6-lane road here, then don't. If you don't need a 4+2, then don't do it. You could use very small roads. This would be a very good, like, national highway interchange. That type of thing. Use the smallest road possible if you can. Let's get a jump on the light setup, and we'll see how this works. So setting up a timed traffic light in Traffic Manager. Click Timed Traffic Lights and click both of these nodes. We want them to work together for timing reasons. And hit Set Up Timed Traffic Light, Add Step. For us today, I'm going to do a minimum of 5. I'm not sure. It may be better at 10, but I'm going to do a minimum of 5, a max of 30. And we're going to turn the flow sensitivity down to 0.3 so we get longer phases when there's more waiting than driving. Right? I have videos that go in depth on this if you want, but that's my general overview of that. On this, we want to break out all of the lights. So go to all the junctions and hit change mode 1 time, and it'll break out all the lights into their individual turn lanes. And the way we're going to do this is this traffic, the 4-lane road can go straight and left at the same time, which means that exiting traffic from the quadrant here can turn right, because there's no conflict there. So let's make that same change over here. Straight and left, they can turn right. Wonderful. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be the opposite traffic, so the southbound traffic. Straight through traffic can continue on this road, but the left turns must stop. The right turns from the quadrant must stop. Straight and right traffic can go on the other side. Left turns must stop. Straight and right. Great. Should be the same on both sides. Add. And then the third phase for this whole thing is going to be this traffic stops. The straight traffic stops on the other side. And the traffic from the quadrant is allowed to leave. While the traffic from the quadrant is going left and right, as they do, this right turning traffic can continue, which is great. And that means they can continue right out the other side. Boom. Straight traffic must stop. The right can continue. This straight through traffic must stop because of the left turning traffic coming in over there. Hit add. Start. I think that does it. Let's let it run for 5 minutes or so, and I'll let some traffic build up, and we'll see what that looks like. It's like watching a well-choreographed dance or something. The cars in City Skylines are quite obedient generally. Every now and then you'll see one run a light, but other than that, it's really nice. You can see how traffic comes in and fills the quadrant as much as it can. And this cycle, ready? This will allow all this traffic to get in, hopefully. When it clears, that right turn still gets to go, so they all get to be held in the quadrant. The left turn has to queue up in the quadrant as well. But the real benefit of this is a conflict reduction. So versus the four-way intersection that we would have started with, this is a three-phase light, as stated earlier. Whereas a normal four-way intersection is a four-phase light, this one goes down to three. It heavily favors through traffic. So both sides do have to accommodate for left turns, but the through traffic has tons of time to get out of here, which is really nice. Let's add some markings and maybe change the slope on this and see how it looks if it's a little bit dressed up. A little bit of sloping and some markings actually goes a long way. Now you can plainly see that the left turns are kind of sectioned off there. I love working with median roads because when you use intersection marking tool, the medians turn into these little dividers, which just add a bit more clarity and separation to the whole operation. I just took that marking, copied it over here. The next logical step is to see how this runs as a partial cloverleaf. I'm going to go with a B configuration for this one, so I guess it would be a B2 Parclo, which is pretty cool. If you decide to upgrade this into a partial cloverleaf, you do have to decide which road is the more dense through traffic road. I don't know how to say it better than that. This configuration is going to favor the underpassing road, so it's going to assume that this road has more traffic than the other. So I'll add a quadrant up here to favor that traffic. Just a moment. Here is the B Parclo. Took a bit of time. I did a lot with intersection marking tool, but here we are. You can see the underpass is now basically a highway. So this is just totally free flowing. There's no stopping whatsoever. And of course, we're taking up much more space with this second quadrant. For minimal gain in this situation, actually, I would say, other than the fact that this road is now free-flowing, it is still a three-phase light. Let me show you the traffic light. An A Parclo would work somewhat similarly, but I'll let this run through, let you see the phases, kind of. What else? Of course, it could be reduced to a two-phase light if we do the logical Parclo thing and turn it into a B4. So that involves, instead of the lefts happening here, you just make a slip lane from here to here. Fill in the last two quadrants, basically, so that it's a full interchange, lots of free-flowing lanes in that case, but you're also taking up tons of space, is the thing. Tons and tons of space. Parclos are very space-consuming, as nice as they are. But I really love the quadrant. That was like a revelation to me. Just the one quadrant, how well it worked for its size, amazing. Really, really cool. Of course, I mentioned it earlier that this could be an A Parclo if we decided that this was the main through point, as in, like, convert this to the highway. You know how this has free-flowing ends, and the left turns are all happening here? Imagine if the left turns happened here and here instead, and this were free-flowing. That would then be an A2 Parclo configuration. Traffic would make a right turn here and then a left into this. So it's all pretty malleable. It starts with an overpass and a quadrant. Maybe you want to add a second quadrant. Maybe you want to add slip lanes. But you don't have to go all the way, is what I'm saying. If it works as a light, keep it as a light. If it works as a roundabout, keep it as a roundabout. If it doesn't work as a roundabout or it doesn't work as a light, feel free to build a bridge and then start with one quadrant. You may find that the one quadrant solves all your problems. There's one more configuration that I want to explore here, and that is a roundabout quadrant intersection. It's going to rely heavily on lane math, but I think it's going to work awesome. Give me just a second. That actually works quite nicely, in my opinion. Pretty good. We've taken what would have been a single roundabout at both roads crossing and moved it into two, which means that all of the left and right turning traffic becomes a left on this roundabout. Same thing over here, replicated, but it just kind of spreads out the conflict. It's very similar to, I think of it as like the magic roundabout, where there's kind of an extra roundabout strung in here that you're allowed to kind of cut through. and priority falls in interesting places. So it reminds me of that Swindon Magic Roundabout in a way, though many less circles, and it's distributed a little differently. But it works great. 3 lanes going in, 2 lanes coming out on all sides. Asymmetrical road to connect these two. Very nice with the transition in the middle. You only need 1 lane coming in, and then you can split it after. And the right turns are dedicated, and the left turns have their own sort of way to go. But yeah, Quadrant Interchange works great. If you're into building a bridge, you can add a ton of capacity to a given road system without overbuilding your auto infrastructure, right? We don't want to build a stack where we don't need a stack. A lot of people say that if it's not free-flowing, it's not worth anything, and that's not true. I see a lot of people overbuilding, building system interchanges where they should be service interchanges, or building grade separation where they could still not do that, and their city would look a lot more realistic and save a ton of money in the process too. But yeah, I'm very happy with this. Quadrant Interchange is a win. Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out. This has been a blast to do. A lot of lane math, a lot of downloading different networks to make this work, a lot of experimentation. This took me a few days and a lot of hours to really wrap my head around it, but you can do a lot of different things with this configuration. That is all I've got for today. Feel free to subscribe here. Feel free to go follow on Twitch if you're into live content, and certainly join the Discord if you want to catch up in the meantime. But that is it. Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out. I've been Yumble. I'll see you in the next stream or the next video.